Hey guys, Chronix here, and I'm back again with another tutorial. Today I'm going to be teaching you 5 808 tips. I got this idea from an old BusyWorks Beats video, but it's kind of outdated and it's kind of old information, and so I decided to add upon that and also add an example. So right here I made a quick beat. It's kind of your generic old style Luger beat using the infamous 808. It uses a couple of these tips, but I'm also gonna put some tips on there as I go, just to show how universal and useful these tips are. Alright, so I'm gonna mute my mic and let you listen to the beat I made. Alright, so now I'm going to start with my first tip, which is a stereo enhancer. So I'm actually already using this on this track. So right here is my 808 track, and I'm going to go ahead and select the pattern and let it play for you. Alright, so can you notice how the 808 tends to be to the back of the headphones? And that is because of the Fruity stereo enhancer. So basically what this does is it offsets the phase of each stereo waveform. So basically when you have an 808 bass, this is the basic waveform, except it's a lot more zoomed in, and it's a basic sine wave with slight mutations to add different harmonics. So basically what the Fruity stereo enhancer is doing is it's changing the phase of the wave so that it occurs in ears at different times. So there are different intervals to mark what type of sound you're going to get, or they might just be there for show, but I've noticed that around here it tends to sit towards the back. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you a brief demonstration of how it works. So as you can see, it's all the way to the right, which means the right ear is gonna have a 500 millisecond delay, hence the top left. So listen. So as you can see, it doesn't sound that great, but if we turn it down a little bit, you can still see the delay on the oscilloscope over there, but it adds a bit of flavor to your bass instead of it just being the general Luger bass that sounds like this. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and get on to my next tip, which is the Fruity Wave Shaper. So the Wave Shaper is really good if you know what it does. So I'm gonna explain it real quick. So basically the Wave Shaper changes the shape of the wave. So most 808s are formed with sine waves like that because a sine wave is a very pure tone, and it also sounds really good when it's at a very low frequency, hence 808 bass. So with Wave Shaper, you can distort your basses like this. And it makes it sound a lot meaner like that. And Camel Crusher is a pretty good starting point because it doesn't exactly let you control the wave, but it gives you better results if you don't know what you're doing. So this graph right here is going to change the waveform to the graph, basically. Versus. Alright, so here's to another tip that I'm using. I'm using ADSR. So I'm not sure, but this might have been in BusyWorks Beats video, but it is very important. There's also another variation of it to where you could do this, but it pretty much does the exact same thing as cut itself right here. Cut itself is also important if you're going on the patterns. But rambling aside, without the envelope, the bass will sound like this. Hold on, I need to turn cut itself off. So it wobbles in itself because it's replaying the sample at different phases, so they're wobbling each other based on their phase, and that's kind of the same principle behind the respace. So it's very important that you keep your ADSR envelope like this, because when you let go of a note on the keyboard, it'll let go of the actual bass sample. So now it'll sound like this. So another tip I'm going to get into is slide notes. Even though I already went over these are also very important, and most beginners don't tend to use them because they don't really know what they are. So I'm going to go ahead and teach you what they are. So again, bass usually starts out like this, using the typical hip-hop pattern. And you can use slide notes to spice it up. Alright, so that's pretty much it for that tip. I didn't want to spend too much time as I had another video out based on that. And my CPU just doesn't like me today. Alright, so I'll go down to pattern 2. And here's another tip that is really, really useful. And it's to boost at 100 Hertz, because if I turn the actual EQ on, and if I'm not clipping as well, so boosting 100 Hertz basically makes it sound a lot more toned. Most 808s have that 100 Hertz tone in them. So this was Chronix. I hope you enjoyed and learned something from me. This beat will soon be available on my SoundCloud, and it will be finished. Like I said, again, I hope you learned something. This is Chronix. I'm out.